the lines that people always ask me to say, sort of the headlines, everyone always says, hey, they'll hold up their phone and say, will you just give me a do you trust me? So I'm like, do you trust me? Now can I go to dinner?
Is it safe?
Sure, do you trust me?
Carpet, let's go! Whoa, carpet, let's move! That always gets them. And then if I want to just make it short and sweet and get out of there, I say, a boo! Then try to get that squeak to sound just right. Then I'm on my way. Hey, I'm a street rat, remember? I'll improvise. She thinks the monkey is the sultan. Jasmine, I do love you, but I gotta stop pretending to be something I'm not. Genie, you're free. So I auditioned for Aladdin when I was 15 years old. It was basically an after-school thing. My mom said, you got an audition for some cartoon after school. And I had never auditioned for some cartoon or any animation or anything. And I didn't, I mean, it's a miracle I didn't say, I'm too tired, let's just skip this one. I want to go home and watch cartoons. And so the audition went really well. And they said, can you sing? And I lied and said I could. And it just kept on going. It was like, you know, I was home in Florida for 6 months and they called me and they said, we want to hear your voice again, make a tape. So I made a tape with my mom, which we just found in the Disney archives for a special feature we're working on for the next edition. And mailed in a tape with my mom playing the Genie. And I got the part. I got the part of Aladdin before I got the part on Full House. But then they made me a series regular on Full House, and that was the year that Aladdin came out. So after work one day, I said to Candace, I was like, I got this movie premiere for this animated movie. You want to be my date? And so we went out for sushi and went to see Aladdin for the first time. It was pretty exciting.
Oi! 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
Well, first of all, the jackpot of memories for me was recording with Robin Williams, who was my hero and my favorite movie star, my favorite actor and comedian. When I was a tiny little kid, I had a Mork and Mindy doll, like a little Mork inside the egg, and then I had a full, like a wall-sized Dead Poets Society poster on my wall when I was 14. So to be in a tiny little room recording with him was, it was intimidating, but he made it not intimidating. It was a big thrill. It was, you know, one of those great experiences that I'm glad they were filming that day, so I have proof that it happened.
Wow! Wow! Does it feel good to be out of there?
Well, the interesting thing about working with Robin Williams is that there was the Robin Williams that when the red light went on, he turned into the sort of the persona that we all know so well. The manic, tons of energy Robin Williams and the Genie. But then before the cameras were rolling, we would very quietly go over the storyboards together and have quiet discussions about it. And so it was very interesting to me to see the thought process, the quiet thought process that went into, you know, getting ready for that red light to turn on and becoming Robin Williams or becoming the Genie. So Aladdin is a scrappy street rat, you know. I mean, he would never accept that description because he's not a street rat. But no, Aladdin is a resourceful kid on his own in the tough streets of Agrabah, and he's figured out a way to sort of like eke out a living for himself and his monkey. And but there's a lot more going on in there, you know, as he finds out he's a diamond in the rough. He's a lot more than he realized. Well, Aladdin's interesting because I think he's a little younger than your traditional Disney prince, you know. He's a teenager. I think they messed around with how old he should be, and then when they landed on my voice, they made him about my age. So when Aladdin came out, I was 17. I had just turned 17, and that seemed roughly the age that Aladdin was. But I think Aladdin was a lot different because he wasn't very princely. He was a scrappy street kid, and who had to sort of find the prince inside of him. So and he had a lot of personality and a lot of moxie, and he wasn't comfortable with who he was. You know, he didn't want to admit to Princess Jasmine that he was just some dude from the street, and he had to come to terms with his true self.
Buzz off. Okay, fine, but remember, be yourself.
So the key to being Aladdin was just being me in those days. The advice that the Genie gave Aladdin to just be yourself was the advice that I had to take to play the role of Aladdin, because it was really just being me. I had a couple of rules when I was recording Aladdin. I always did it standing up so I would have more energy, and I drank a lot of water so my voice wouldn't get scratchy after screaming and yelling for 4 hours.
Jasmine, you're a princess.
Then maybe I don't want to be a princess anymore.
Oh.
The Aladdin-Jasmine relationship is very interesting to me because Jasmine was such a cool, independent, I mean, I guess you could say ahead of her time, Disney princess in a way. I love the way they portrayed that character, and I love the way that she would reject the fake Aladdin, the Prince Ali Aladdin. The Aladdin she was ultimately interested in was the real kid, you know, the real guy, the authentic guy being himself. And I really like that relationship. And I have a great relationship with Linda Larkin, who plays Princess Jasmine, that's lasted all these years, which is really special. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is after the magic carpet ride, after the whole new world, and they're in China and they're sitting on the roof of the Forbidden City or something, and they're just watching fireworks go off, like you do when you're in China. And Princess Jasmine catches him, and she says, "It's a shame Abu couldn't be here to see this." And Aladdin says, "Yeah, you know, but he hates fireworks," and then he realizes that he screwed up. I mean, and you know, I think that's a cute moment, and it shows how Aladdin can be a little dopey when he's falling in love, and how you can't pull one over on Princess Jasmine. I get approached by Aladdin fans pretty much daily. It's a really weird coincidence that two of sort of the biggest things that I did, the two biggest sort of elements of my kid acting career from the 90s were Aladdin and Full House, two things that are just never going to go away forever. And so people always make the connection, especially now because of Fuller House. They recognize me as that guy. And it always blows my mind how many people know that the guy who played Steve on Full House is the voice of Aladdin. And then you get the sort of latecomers who are like, mind blown, I had no idea. And I'm like, where have you been?